To stream. Yes, people. How are we doing today? And welcome to a stream like no other. A stream which is quite big today. It's a stream like no other, as I've said before. And I am the host of the most, the bridge. As you can see here, the bridge 258. I'm just going to wait for you guys to all come in today, and we're going to discuss obviously the big news which has happened today, obviously at the football club, and sort of what is reverberating right now, and what does it mean for Chelsea Football Club. Obviously, I might have a few, one or two more co-hosts that might come on at the moment in time. I know that there will be some other people, trying to go and watch. None other than what is his name? You know who anyway. I don't want to say his name. I don't really like to, advertise him at all. So it is what it is. We move on. So here I am, and let's, what I mean. Let's start and let's start and enjoying ourselves. So just wait a few minutes for you guys to come into the chat. But you know, again, I have a few things that obviously I want to talk about just in general when it comes to him. When it comes to Mason Mount, just about his time here at the football club, and what can we do now, like moving on. I think that's the fair thing to say first. Oh, excuse me. So, whenever you're ready, I am ready. But you know what? Let's start by getting started on the topic. Getting invigorated as such. And let me just reload this little timer thing quickly. That's to really see how everything is going so far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us get into it. Let's start. Ready, steady, go. Big up Dennis, bro. Listen, Dennis. Let me tell you right now, my friend. Hopefully tomorrow we should be able to get it done tomorrow, because he did promise me if Mark comes, he'll do a stream live on my channel. Hopefully tomorrow it will be the day you will see him on my channel. We're gonna be discussing none other than Mason Mount. But listen. Before that, I wanted to start obviously discussing the situation, obviously amount. So it got confirmed today. First report by David Ornstein that United and Chelsea confirmed that Mason Mount is set to go to Manchester United for a 60 million deal, 55 million in base plus 5 million in add-ons. And the other thing about the deal, which I don't think people are understanding as much, is that initially they said they wouldn't budge to any more than 55 million. But as you know, United, there's literally, we know what they're like. United tax, if they want the guy, they'll eventually relent, and they relented to the 60 million to 65 million that Chelsea wanted. Chelsea wanted 60 65, they got to 60 million. It is what it is. But again, I think for me, another thing here about Chelsea that I would say they've done a good deal, and is that they told them, come meet us face to face. They literally played a game of what's it called, poker face, and United ran in first, and they literally allowed them to come to Chelsea within 24 hours. They got this deal done, and it is what it is. I've been thinking, I've been seeing obviously comments obviously in regards to the idea of why did we remove the contract for Mason Mount in January once the directors came in, everyone came in. The reality of the situation, in my eyes, is that when we had Bowley and Iqbali as the interim what sports directors, they were just doing stuff of vibes and the stuff that they knew of, such as Bowley in his time in baseball and in basketball. The, Obviously, once you bring in guys that know their stuff, whether it be over Stanley, whether it be a Lawrence Stewart, but in particular from what it's with Stanley, he's clearly rescinded the contract because he feels that we were giving too much to Mason Mount. And as he's the head of the negotiations, and as there was nothing signed, he's allowed to do that at the end of the day. He is allowed to do that at the end of the day. Excuse me. But I don't think, I think the Mount situation, obviously, there have been things that have gone wrong from the Chelsea side, of course, and things that have gone on wrong at his side as well. This is not, just one side is culpable. Both sides are culpable at the end of the day. And what we have to do now, just move on. Hopefully, the club learns the lesson on the stuff that they don't want to do, and we move on. I think the other thing that we need to realize now is that Chelsea's wage structure is probably going to be a lot different than what it usually is. I think we're probably only going to be aiming to give the type of contracts where where it's a high base fee to the top player. So that player that is like a top player for us, and we want to keep him, they will be on those upper tier higher wages. You look at someone like Enzo Fernandez, for example. Enzo Fernandez and Mudryk, I would say they're both roughly around about the 97k mark, and that is without any stuff added on at all. So again, those sort of things, you need to be careful in regards to how much you give these players when you get them first. And then once they improve, you can probably offer them a contract extension or redraw the contract where they can get as much money as possible. The other thing to consider is obviously the incentives. You want them to be incentivized each year to pay for the football club. The more assists you get, the more wins you get, you're getting money for it. So I do get this idea from the football club to do so. I think also the club has needed a refresh in my eyes. The club has clearly needed a set amount of refresh as well. If we're being honest, we're clearly going for like a younger team, a team. Oh, big up Oliver, bro. Oh, if you want the link, Oliver, let me know, bro. Let me know, Oliver, if you want the link, bro. But as I was saying, the club clearly is trying to go for a younger model for the time being to allow us to rebuild the team, and we need to rebuild this team from scratch. You know, Obviously you've got a lot of pieces in. You've got a lot of pieces in the team. You've got a lot of stuff in the team, but we still need to improve. Like obviously you've got two good defenders in Badiashile. We've got someone in Levi Colwell beforehand. You've obviously got Malagusto and Rhys James on the right. Chilwell, possibly even now Matson, who may start, who's had a great time at the football club as well. You've got obviously the goalkeeper situation, we've got Gabriel Solina, but we're probably looking for a number one there as well. But again, it just comes down to CDMs again. And we've got Enzo as a centre mid, who's probably like an 8 in my opinion. We're looking for someone to get like other than Andre Santos to be the main one, which is Caicedo. You then look at the wing play. So on the wings, you got Madueke and Mudryk. You got Sterling there, who's a bit more of a senior citizen there at the age of 28, even though he's 28. You got Nkuku in the 10. You got Cassidy, Chukwemeka. So the squad is trying to be rebuilt and reset. Like it's something that we failed to do in my eyes. Like even though in 2019 we got an influx of our young talent and young players, the club the balance of the squad was not right. Like we had four different squads in there, and now the reason why I had to do this clear out is that we need to start from scratch completely and reset the team. And it is what it is. What we have to do now is move on and move on and make sure these players go. Oh yeah, yeah. All right, give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. I've sent you the link via Discord, Oliver, so if you want to have a go and have a cheeky look on that. But as I was saying, coming back to the situation, we clearly start from scratch, and from there we're gonna rebuild. It's as simple as that. We already brought in Strasbourg as our first multi-club model. Clearly, we want to try and re-strengthen and rebirth the youth there. So, again, it's a nice little clear thing that we are trying to aim to do, and I like that idea a lot. I like that idea. I like this idea a lot. I think we've needed this for a while. The thing of I'll wait for the Mount situation, obviously, when Oliver gets here as well, to sort of discuss that bit as well. But in regards to Mount, Mount was clearly stagnating at the football club, in my opinion. Oh, he's actually here already. Bear with me. Introducing my fellow co-host in Casually FC, Oliver. What are you saying, big man? What are you saying, Oliver?
Hey, it's been a wild day, man. I only just saw this news, like all the Mount stuff. I only saw it about like what 3 hours ago.
Wow, what happened, bro? Wait, you had uni receiving or something?
I've been at work. Just been at work.
Uh oh man, it's been good for you, man. Hey, at least you came out of work for some nice news. But
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
yeah, so I was just discussing I was
Cool.
just discussing everything about in regards to Mount. I was just saying, at the end of the day, when it comes to Mason Mount, that when it came to so it actually came out that was Stanley reviewed the contract for Mason Mount because he thought that the value of the contract was too much for him, and that's why he removed the contract, and then he decided to reset the contract from his own terms. And I've seen a lot of people get angry in regards to the situation, in regards to the situation of Mount, but like, why did you remove the contract for him? And I'm like, at the end of the day, when Bodie and Iqbali were doing this stuff, these guys were interim sporting directors. They don't have that much knowledge in football contracts, and they don't even know how much these players are truly worth. They don't have experience in football. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you don't have to know, you don't have to see the reports to understand that. I mean, you can just see based on the
Exactly.
timing. Mount had an offer before the World Cup. That was clearly the Bowley offer. And when Stanley and Stewart and all that, they started in January or maybe late December-ish kind of time. And that's when this all broke down. So you don't need the reports to see this. It's just coming out now, and people, all the people that wanted to deny it or whatnot, they're finally starting to see it. And yeah, as is the case with many Chelsea fans, they just react with emotions and don't actually think, oh, maybe the guy's got a point here. Maybe he's actually a football guy that knows what he's talking about somewhat. And at the end of the day, he's gotten a lot of money for Mount and Havertz, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously negotiating all the other players to Saudi as well. So I just got to commend it, really.
Exactly.
People can have their agendas if they want. That's not my problem anymore, and Mount isn't our
Yeah.
problem anymore. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I just think for me, something else that I did read was that what's it called? People are saying that Chelsea have lost their identity. I'm like, we've not had an identity in my opinion since 2017. Even under Tuchel, we didn't have an identity in my eyes. Like the whole period of like since 2017 transfer window, since you've gone through, who do you go after? Sorry, it's Lampard, Tuchel, then sorry, it's Lampard,
Pot-
Tuchel, and then
Potter.
Potter, and
That's
then
Bowley though. Yeah.
that's probably then. But even if you talk about that, even in general, throughout all the managers we've had in that period and the amount of players we've brought in that period, we've not had we've not had identity at the club. They've all had different styles of play. We've brought in a different amount of players. The whole system was broken. If we're being honest.
No, absolutely. And people want to act like it was perfect before. And listen, we've had a terrible season, and
Yeah.
this wouldn't have happened under Roman. The worst they got was 10th, and we won a league title straight away. We're not going to win
Mm-hmm.
the league next season, but
Mm-hmm.
there were mistakes made, especially later on. The
Mm-hmm.
longer people deny that, the longer they're going to be,
Yes, of
the
course.
longer they're going to be in the dark about what's really going on.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the reality of the situation. Obviously, a lot of stuff came home to roost because these owners came in too quickly, and then obviously they didn't get any help as well. If you're being honest as well, and then they also were a bit stubborn in their own mistakes as well. If you're being honest, for the first year, and a lot of stuff came home to roost in that season, but clearly that stuff is getting done now to fix it. And let's move on to Mason Mount. I just think before we start on like what he's going to be getting at Man United, etc., etc. If I was to like start Mount's career when he started at Chelsea in 90, was it 18? Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
19,
1920.
1920. Yeah, under Lampard, he was really. I will always say that if we had a very good breakout season that season. I like this, the pressing, the stuff that he was doing. Yeah, he wasn't getting the stuff, but clearly he was providing that high energy and that stuff in the midfield, which was needed. Then the season afterwards, under Tuchel, I thought like he had sort of maintained that level. He had improved a bit more in that season, but then last season, when I'm not sure what the season that's just happened, but the season before, which is 2021, even though he did get the GNA, it really felt like
Yeah.
he had stagnated. The performances had decreased, and then this season he's just completely stagnated, and he's had like a lot of really bad performances as well. Now going to United, the thing for me is I don't. Ten Hag is a good manager, but I do wonder is he going to be able to improve that because I think there's a couple of things that he still needs to improve on. A lot of stuff actually. His final ball needs to be improved upon a lot. The vision also needs to be improved a lot. He needs to understand when to pick his passes. His like football intellect has to be improved in my eyes as well. Finishing is another one because clearly if he's going to be playing next to Bruno Fernandes, he's probably going to be similar in a similar Lampard role where he comes in to finish the ball. His finishing, in my eyes, at times has been very wayward or poor, similar to Havertz in front of goal, and in general. So it's just a weird thing. Oh, and look who's here, big boy. You know what I mean? Surfer is in the building. What are you saying, bro? Man? What are you saying?
It's all right, man. Just rattling some mineral munches.
Hey, I actually saw that. Shout out to you. That stream is so crazy, bro.
That stream is nothing but rational thoughts.
Exactly, irrational.
It's all rational. It's not emotional, anything like that. It's all like positivity throughout. You know.
Hey, big
like
up to man. Yeah, no, I would just right now, we're just literally just summing up what our thoughts on like Mark's
what happened
career.
today?
Nothing happened, you know what, man? Nothing's happened.
It's been a quiet one.
It's been a quiet night. But
don't tell anyone. Proper Chelsea died today. Proper Chelsea died today.
Bro, I saw. You know what? Yeah, I was just literally speaking about this actually. Before you came into the stream, you were talking about Chelsea are gonna have an identity crisis because of all the players because Mason Mount had left. I had that in a Twitter space today, and I was just saying to everyone, Chelsea have not had identity post. Basically, sorry, I would argue. Like the amount of players you've had in the squad, the different types of players you've had in the squad. Like, why are we lying to ourselves? We've not had an identity at all. Like, this is why, like, that really annoyed me because, guys, we've not had a style for. Do you have Eddie on Instagram, by the way, Saf?
Yeah, I've got Eddie. I'll reach out to Eddie. I'll reach out to him.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. You know what the link is, right?
I've got the link. Yeah, that's why I'm on it.
Yeah, I'll listen to him. Yeah, no problem. But going back to the identity thing, just quickly, we've not had identity for a long time. This is we've had to remove a lot of players. This is why we've had to reset the team. You know, we've basically had to reset because the amount of guys we're bringing in who are young talents now is a main reason for that. Obviously, we've now got the multi-club level model now with Strasbourg, with Patrick Vieira now in charge as well. So that's a lot of the stuff. But
is that confirmed?
Yeah, that's basically confirmed. Yeah, by RMC Sport.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just gonna say quickly for you, Oliver. Obviously, I spoke about Mount's career. Would you agree with what I said about Mount's career so far? Quickly,
I wasn't so enamored. I wasn't as enamored with his first season as you, but the rest of it, I'm pretty in line with. I'd say.
No, fair enough. How would you sum up Mount's career, Surfer? At Chelsea, because I did it season by season.
First two were pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The situation we're in.
Mm-hmm.
The third one was numbers overshadow performances, a lot, and I thought his performances were very bang average, and even when you dissect his numbers, they're like lower. He's a flat track bully. I know he scored against Madrid and everything like that, no problem. He scored some big goals, but if you look at his league goals, I think he scored like 4 against Norwich and like 2 against Southampton or something like that, and also got a couple of assists against them as well. And then this season, he had about a 4-game run, and then that's it.
Exactly, yeah.
And he did play in 20. I know he got injured, because someone says it, but he played in 24 games. But I just. I don't know. If I sum up his whole career, 2019 we didn't have. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's an urban myth that what's his face? Sorry, was looking at him. I really do. I think it's an urban myth. I really do, and that goes for Reece James as well. By the way, I don't care what people are saying about him. I don't ever see them breaking into the first team the way we treated the academy and stuff like that. I just
100%. Yeah,
I just don't. The way we done it. I just think what's really interesting. Remember that thread about the PR agency?
Yeah, I read that thread. Yeah,
and I was watching Said's stream today, and Nuruddin was on it, and he went, "You know what?" And Lewis said something about it as well. Since he decided to go the PR route, like image and stuff like that, he joined the best PR club, and that's Manchester United. I just think I'm not. I'm glad. Like when it's completed, I don't ever have to talk about him again.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Until he like plays against us or something like that. And even if he does well at Man United, fine. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't. Same with Kai Havertz. Same with everyone else.
They didn't do it here.
They'd be one of the first that have actually done well that's left us. You look at the people that have left us,
It's very
I
rare.
don't count KDB or Salah because they weren't like with us for that long. You know what I mean?
Probably only Cuadrado you could probably argue because he did real like Juve to be honest, but that's
Even then, that
Courtois.
was a strange transfer. Courtois. Courtois probably. Yeah, you know, Courtois probably the only one really that you can go. Yeah, that's actually done well. But he you know. But I don't know. I just think.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen,
Here he is.
we have
I've got to
got
listen to this guy.
the first United fan, my brother. Listen, Flawless ain't here until tomorrow. You know what I mean? We're gonna be hearing Flawless's news until tomorrow.
Eddie can't wait.
Eddie, my brother, fam, come chat to me, big man. What you saying?
I'm only here for 5 minutes because I think that's as long as I can take from you people.
Why not 19 minutes? Why not 19 minutes, Eddie?
Again, Ahmed, you just cut it down to 3, my boy. Congratulations. I have like no words, bro. Just no words. I'm at work and I was struggling because I didn't want to say anything that would affect the brotherhood that I built with you people for these past couple months, but the smiles, the giggles, the parties, all of it has put a lot into question in my life right now, bro. Like I'm at this point, I think therapy is the only option. I don't think I can handle this by myself. I think I need to reach out to somebody because I've hit the floor. I've hit rock bottom, bro. Like I have nothing left to say. I literally have nothing left to say. And it's not even it's not even about Mount, the player. It's about the fact that we gave you money to get a better player. That's where I'm legit just like, am I living in cuckoo land? Am I the only one who sees a problem with this other than just the fact that he's shit? Like I can't. I'm just left. That's where I'm stuck at, bro. Like I'm questioning a lot of things about what my allegiance to this club has put me through, and
according to Johnny Minerals, let's quickly Eddie.
Oh
Yeah.
He said that Mount is better than KDB, so you're getting a KDB plus.
No, listen. You know exactly who I blame for Johnny Minerals, and he's in that bottom corner. He's in the corner right next to me. That's who
No, but Eddie, I don't know if you've caught Saeed's TV. I don't know if you caught the stream today that they had.
Yeah.
Is on it, and there's a guy called Musa who regularly appears in it, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to say if we can get the Mason Mount that was in the 2021 Champions League final, then we've got a good play. He kept referencing back to the Champions League final performance. It's like,
God.
bro, do the last 2 years not count for you or something?
And I think it's important to say as well that version of Mount was an attacking player. These lot are going to play him in the midfield.
He was playing on the right wing. Remember, he was playing the right wing, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh my God.
That's the thing. Like people try and compare the stats of 2021 Mount versus Lampard and Gerrard prime. It's like they weren't even playing the same position.
Yeah.
Like damn.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Again, man. Yeah, man, it's very hard, bro. That's what I'm saying to you. It's kind of hard, especially with Mount, to compare. Actually, when you're looking back at, because he's played right wing, he's played left wing, he's played the 8. Listen, man. You know, you got a very versatile player coming to you, Eddie, bro. If Anthony's not cooking, you can always put Mount there. You know what I mean? If what's his name's not cooking, if Sancho's not cooking, you got him there for you. Garnacho's not cooking, you got Mount for you, bro. You know what I mean? Every solution ends in Mount.
Well, can I just to clarify, what position does Enzo play?
Enzo technically can play in the 8 mostly, or he can also play in the 6 as secondary.
If you play him in a pivot, he's not going to be the most defensive one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when Mourinho had Matic and Fabregas. He'd be the Fabregas.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I feel that. Yeah.
He's sort of what it should have worked with Casemiro and Eriksen. Do you know what I mean? If they'd been worked probably like Casemiro the destroyer and then Eriksen be the one just spraying the ball out and something like that, but it just didn't work for some goddamn reason. It just didn't work. So
it's just Eriksen's legs are shot, and I don't think he has the the physical tools anymore to really play Prem football for a elongated time. And I think what's messing me up, because if that's the case, we legit just gave you a better midfield than we would have. Because I'm thinking you're gonna play Nkunku in the 10.
Yeah.
You'll probably end up getting Caicedo, and then you have Enzo right there. And I'm just like, it honestly, like Ronaldo never made me feel this bad. For even with Ronaldo, with everything he did, Ronaldo never made me feel this bad.
But we said it right. We said it right. All the Man United press were going, the third bid, and United will walk away. They didn't walk away, bro.
They didn't walk away.
They didn't walk away. He said number
they look
one
so
target.
bad.
He was a number one target. That's what he
Big
was.
up Jafar, bro. Hope you're doing well.
Big up Jafar.
We look like United, if I'm being honest.
Go on.
That's what I'd say. Like,
what are you saying, Oliver? What are you gonna say? Go ahead, bro.
I was just saying, what didn't make sense is that the report was, final bid for Mount, and then if we don't get in, we're going for Caicedo, who costs more. Like that's what didn't make sense to me personally.
No, and then what made it worse is that Chelsea clearly played like a little game with them. They were like, "Yeah, we're willing to meet you, face to face."
We called their bluff.
Yeah, and then literally we called you a bluff, basically. Like if it wasn't your team, and then we knew Manchester United.
Hold up. You called United's bluff. Don't associate me with these clowns, right?
Oh no, I meant United. I meant United.
I know what you meant. I just had to be cheeky for the sake of my own personal well-being.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But even after, listen to the reports afterwards when it went, United will stand firm at 50.
Oh my god!
Fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like Chelsea wants 65. I've always told you, Eddie. I think Chelsea wanted you to hit minimum 50, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, yeah.
Another special guest in the building.
To work it from there. It's 55.
My boy
Where's
Alan,
Flawless,
bro.
by the way?
Flawless is not gonna be here. He's on holiday.
Is on vacation.
The stream is gonna probably. I texted Flawless already. I said to him, "Listen, big man, tomorrow we're gonna be streaming. Make sure to let me know what time you're available, and then we can,
He's not responding to anyone's text.
Unbelievable.
No, not until tomorrow. So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to see what happens. But hey, Alan, bro, what you saying, man? We eating good today.
Hey, big up the family. I just wanted to come kick it.
I'm sure you did.
Can you blame me?
Diamond, bro, I don't have you, so like I literally don't know how to send you to you on Twitter. So I would have sent
this. It's just Don Diamond. Look for Don Black Diamond.
Yeah, y'all ain't ready for Diamond. Y'all think I'm tame. Diamond finna go scorch earth on my manager, on my club. It's
Black Diamond. Yeah, let me check.
Problem is with Black Diamond, man.
I'll send him the link.
It's not even like he's with the other night when he was.
Yeah, send him the link, bro. Yeah, send him the link.
He was having a spliff or something. This is gonna be raw.
This is gonna be
hardcore Black Diamond right here, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be uncut. That pure.
Uncut, man. Lucky you're after 9:30 here.
Listen,
in UK,
bro,
man.
have you seen the wages you're gonna be paying him, Eddie, bro, as well?
Again, it's I can't scream because I'm in an office building, but that's the direction I'm trying to go.
Eddie, did it for 1 millisecond today cross your mind to call in like throw a sickie or something like that, just to like say I can't?
No, because you know what's unfortunate, it happened while I was at work.
Oh
so
no, he can't even react.
I'm supposed to just sit here and watch it stew. Like and again, I didn't expect it today because I heard that, I think like you guys said, they were supposed to meet on they were planning to meet. So I'm like, okay, they're planning to meet. Ooh,
that what happened. That was said yesterday, though, Eddie.
It was yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, so I assumed today was going to be the day. Like either we're going to find out today, or if not on Friday, it's going to be confirmed.
Yeah. I thought these days were do or die.
Go stream anywhere because someone will think he's like mental or something like that.
He just goes, and that's what I'm saying. These days, stateside, nobody's taking chances with a brother losing his shit at work. So. Two taps. What they say? Two taps.
Oh my god!
I mean, Eddie, having it happening at work is one thing. Flawless is on a break. Flawless is trying to chill, enjoy his life. Take it easy.
We got the Q&A. We got the Spurs, Chelsea, Man United show tomorrow. The Man United show.
Yeah, we got everything. Now, if it was happening at Cancun, it would have been fine because the ocean is right there. I can just walk in and decide if I want to come back to shore or not.
Jeez.
Now I'm stuck. Now I'm stuck here.
You can just
Going
float.
over these reports.
You can
Yeah,
just
I can just
float.
float. I can just float. Maybe the current takes me back to shore. Maybe I go out with the fishes. Who knows?
When did you last see
Yeah.
Eddie? Eddie heard about news and just went into the ocean. Just
That's
never came
it.
back.
That's it.
Bro, but you're gonna be paying, I think, 250 week base, and then if he meets all of his stuff, it will be 300k. Alexa,
Are we sure that's the base? Are we
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
that's
250,
the base?
250k is the base. 300k add-ons.
And
I
it's
mean,
a
Matt
5
Law-
plus- It's a 5+1, right? Is that
Yeah,
how I
5
read it?
Yeah, that's what Matt Law said.
Yeah,
Matt Law
that's
is
one.
like a mouthpiece, so like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take his word for it.
But that's great. 250 plus and then 300. So yeah, bro, man, he's good. That means I think he's earning more than a couple of guys, bro.
I think I read someone said that he's like, if this is true, his wage is to be believed.
Yeah,
He's like he's the 5th top earner, or joint 5th top earner at United. He earns more than Bruno now as well.
Damn.
Damn.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
just
again,
just quickly, let me do a little PSA. Big up Kurdish Ball. Nice to meet
They
you.
got Curtis, my guy.
Yeah, and just before we continue, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You know what I mean, on the YouTube. You know what I mean, we're doing big things here. We're doing big things here. Daily
shut
YouTube
up,
stuff.
Armin.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Shut up.
That's what we do around about here. That's what we do around about these parts. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to 20 likes and let's get to 200 subscribers today. Shout out to my brother Victor, bro. What you saying, man? What you saying, big man?
Wait,
beautiful day,
what? What?
Shout out to my brother
What?
Victor.
If Eddie Victor's here, it might be your time to leave. Like
Oh
5
my
minutes.
God.
I come in peace. I come in
I
peace.
doubt
Fair
it.
enough,
I
fair enough.
doubt it.
I come in peace. I come in peace.
man.
Eddie, you're fine today. Don't worry. You're okay.
I
I've already cooked Mataza enough. He hates me now, and now our mission's complete. Now my energy's now saved for Flores.
Actually,
tomorrow.
yeah,
I'm
to be
saving
fair,
all my energy for Flores.
Hey, Eddie, you are in a pretty good place not being in the Twitter group chat, because the Twitter group chat
Yeah.
is really where the nonsense
Oh
happens.
yeah.
As soon as the deal was done, I put the picture of the two guys with the blood rag and the crip rag, and I'm like, yo, this is Ten Hag and Bowley stepping out of the negotiation rooms together. It was real foul in the group chat. So
Yo, man, that's what
I'm
Listen,
like,
that's what I'm saying, man.
I'm like Obi-Wan. I think it was episode 3 where he's screaming at Anakin, "You were supposed
You
to
were
be the
the chosen
chosen one."
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at Ten Hag right now, my boy. You were supposed to be the chosen one.
I like the bit before it being in negotiations where like Man United are Anakin and Chelsea over going, I have the high ground. And he's still
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We were supposed to, but somehow, some way, we get our legs chopped off. We get our arm chopped off.
Honest question, though, Eddie. I got an honest
Yeah.
question for you. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
big up Warrior J93. You know what I'm saying? Big up, bro.
man, shut up,
Honest
Warrior
question.
J. Mod
I
him,
got a
mod
lot. Of, I
him,
got the,
mod
yeah,
Hall
so-
of Fame.
All right. So the one I want to talk about here is that you're a United fan. Tell me how he's gonna work out now with probably what would seem to be a Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro midfield.
So personally, I'm not there yet, but I'm telling myself if I see them all three in the same midfield, I'm not watching the game.
Ooh, what if it's
I'm not-
hey Eddie, what if it's a lunchtime game as well, right? Yeah, force you to
Oh.
wake up.
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
going to sleep, mate.
Listen, let it be at 4:30. I'm not watching. I'll just go.
Oh
check
yeah,
the
you're in
highlights.
forgot. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
so
in the Eastern.
I'm like, we already have that. Like, literally every midfielders, if you look at it, besides Ericsson that we have, plays in that kind of mount role where they don't have a fixed position because they're not good enough to have a fixed position. So other than Casemiro, like you're talking about a Fred, McTominay, Van de Beek, and honest to God's truth, when you guys were talking about his best time playing for Chelsea was in the attacking positions, I thought you were talking about Bruno.
Wow, that's
Because
always been the,
Big up, I
that's
said,
always
bro.
been it, isn't it? That's what it's always been.
Don't worry, man. Flawless, man. We're gonna
Yeah.
find out about him tomorrow quickly. But go ahead, guys.
That's
please.
the thing. It's like Bruno does the same exact thing where we don't know where he's good at. So the manager's just like, oh, he's a utility player. We can play him at right wing. Like in the FA Cup final, he played right wing. And then we had, I think, a midfield of Casemiro, Fred, and Eriksson. And somehow, some way, Bruno still found a way to pass the ball to Man City than he could to a Manchester United player. And yeah, it just doesn't work. I think the only way it does work is if we get another midfielder and Bruno's the sub on for, I mean, Mount is the sub on for Bruno, and I honestly, I'm not sure. I'll have to go watch a little bit more, but Mount might actually be better on the ball than Bruno. And that's not saying much.
Good Lord.
You know?
Yo, that's very dark to hear, man. That's
Yeah,
wow.
it's a Glazer signing for me. Like, I feel like if Qataris were in, they'd understand what we have and see that Mount isn't necessarily what we need. But
the issue is the two things I've got to say is the issue with the takeover is that at the moment this might only be your midfield buy. And that's what most
no. It's not a might. It is.
Oh no, it's okay. I just put down just thinking.
Yeah, so you don't think there's going to be no backup CM that's going to
No.
Go through.
If the takeover goes through, then maybe we get something in January. But as for this summer, there's no hope because of what I've been seeing from us, right?
I don't think this will happen because it's all about PR, but maybe it will happen. The number 19 shirt is available now because Varane's gone to number 4. However, I should send you this thread on the PR thing with him, Eddie, actually. It's quite interesting about Mount. You should. I don't know if you've seen it.
It's a really interesting thread.
It's a really interesting piece about it. So, do you think they give him a number 7? You know
M7M
about that, right? You know someone's gonna be
MM7.
No, M7M hits, bro. M7M is the one that hits, bro.
The thing is, I'm already pissed because apparently they might be giving that to Garnacho.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, wow. and I'm still trying to process all of that. Like, if you haven't been watching, United has been, the textbook definition of a shit show since about 2013. So anything that's happened after that 2013 inflection point, as some other people affectionately say, I just charge it to the game. But the only impressive thing in that 10-year span is how much lower they can go, right? Like, I was like, okay, you lose Pogba on a free. Yeah, he had some hiccups, but you don't lose a talent that level on a free. You get something back. Twice,
big
right?
Big up Blade Runner. Hope you're doing well, bro.
And so, that's my thing. That's the thing to finish up real quick, Ahmed. Like, that's one example. And then I don't know if you guys have ever seen Zlatan's comments about us.
What did he say about you guys?
Pretty much he said, like, after everything I did, they got mad at me because I posted on Twitter where I was going before they could. That's their priority.
Wow.
One thing I will say, though, United fans were getting pissed off that they weren't doing enough in the market. I know Big Up Saeed was saying, why are we not doing enough in the market? United's been playing the market. They got active and they brought Mason Mount.
There we go.
There we go, man. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Eddie. It's just too easy.
You in that?
Right now, it's just nothing but net right now. You know what I'm saying?
Why don't you go grab a ruler and measure a wall or something, huh? Why'd you fucking want to do this whole? Like, what do we do?
Hey man, I'm just a civil engineer, mate. You know what I'm saying? So,
to be fair, Saeed also said that it's time to hijack Caicedo, and I spoke to him. I was like, "We want money. Sorry, like you just spent 55 M's on Mount, and then you think you're gonna go spend 70 million on Caicedo?
Imagine we're gonna spend 50 million on Onana for Onana become our best midfielder, not named Casemiro.
He's gonna be your deep line playmaker, mate. He's gonna be making more key passes than Mason.
He'll have to.
The first Regista keeper.
Because that's something that I did say was that he clearly has stagnated. There's a lot of stuff that he still needs to improve on as well. and it's not gonna be like he's not gonna improve in it straight away. Especially with Ten Hag, it's gonna take a while. Like I think maybe not this season or even the season after before you start seeing maybe a much better or much improved Mount. But the one thing you can't improve is vision. It's either you have it or you don't.
A lot of things with these players you can't necessarily improve now because they are who they are. They've made their money playing the way that they play. So I've always found it interesting that people are like, yeah, he'll grow when he's 23. Like, what?
He's 24.
He's 20 at 23 or 20. I didn't even know how old he was. I was hoping he was fucking 20 so it wouldn't look as bad that he's fucking playing like this. But that just makes it worse. Now I definitely know, like, he's gotten his Champions League playing this way. He's made it to Chelsea playing this way. Who was Ten Hag to come and tell him?
The thing is, though, it took.
Hold on, is Murtaza Mudryk a slander name now?
What the hell?
He made it as a slander name.
Oh yeah, I can't help you on that one, Taz. You got to fight back off the ropes on your own.
I sent Taz the link. You know what I'm saying? If he's willing to come on, you know what I mean?
Nah, he ain't pulling up. He didn't cause too much. He didn't cause too much chaos. Like I said, if he acts like that on the YouTube stream, I can only question how he acts in the fucking Twitter chats and all that.
He said, you know what he said to me?
When we do pro club streams that aren't live,
yeah,
he says worse shit in there, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what
I know him.
PG version as much as you can of Murtaza on stream.
He said this. Yeah, he said some wild stuff. Yeah, listen, that's all that is. But I just think, moving on. United, obviously, you're giving us a lot of money. Chelsea, obviously, going to now use that money hopefully well. We're always looking at Gabriel Vega. What are your thoughts on him, guys? Obviously, in the round chat, because
I don't know shit about him.
I don't know. I've never seen him play.
So he scored 11 goals, assisted 4 times in the league this season. This was like his breakout season, essentially.
How old is he?
He's 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
21.
Does it even make sense to buy that kind of a player as Nkunku's backup? Like, the plan, if everything goes according to plan, that guy probably doesn't play. Like, a whole lot in the next 2-3 years.
I think that's why. Do you know what I mean? Give him a year to settle. Do you know what I mean? Not playing a lot, integrated. Nkunku's the main man. You're going to come in now and again for a league game, maybe a couple of cup games or substitution, something like that. I think it becomes a bigger deal if we don't get a striker. Oh, sorry, a big time striker. Sorry, do you know what I mean? Like like you go, whoa. Do you know what I mean? Like
so from the rumors, Felix Johnson apparently reported today that the reason why we are not bringing in a goalkeeper apparently this season and sticking with Kepa is because we're apparently trying to spend the majority of our money on a midfielder and a striker. So we know who one of the midfielders are, which is going to be Caicedo.
You see, the thing is with these goalkeeper reports, I've read the same term about him. Poch is willing to work. That's not an endorsement of Kepa.
Exactly.
That's not an endorsement of the goalkeeper. And I don't understand. It's like, let's wait a year and then we'll have a number one up. Well, hang on a minute. Onana, I think he'll go to United. But let's just say Onana, Magnan, and Diogo Costa are on the market now.
100%.
They might not be in the market in a year's time. And Porto are in FFP trouble as well. And there's a buyout clause there. Magnan's the hardest one to get out because Matt don't have any other goalkeepers. Unless, I don't know, why don't you offer them Kepa and loan for 2 years or something, see what happens, yeah? And we'll pay half his wages or something like that. Why don't you do that? That's what I mean. I don't understand. It's like, everyone says build a spine. The goalkeeper is the first part of your spine. Yeah? And if we keep Kepa, this now means that there is a limit, to me, of what we can do next season.
100%.
Because there's always going to be, shit, it's 1-0 or it's 0-0.
One shot away.
And last minute, something goes through his fingers or something like that. And then we
one long shot away. One
point or something like that. We go out the cup.
One long shot away. One extra bit of power shot in next to him. Some random 90th minute. Oh, he scored! What a goal! Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And then there's Blade Runner. So Kudus. Apparently, the reason why we're not going after Kudus is that I actually just selling Timber right now. and the price to get Kudus apparently is going to be quite steep afterwards. That's why the
I
club
thought it
are
was
not.
45. I read.
I don't know. Like that, but Felix Johnson said that. That's what he said in it, and he
I
seems to
thought
be better on the
Brighton-
money. Yeah,
Richie was saying it's like 45 million or something. Brighton were looking
Yeah.
at him.
but apart the one thing I do know, I think from the Vega reports, and because Matteo Moretti was saying this, that Poch has been tapping him up. He's been calling him similar to like a Ugarte to make him to come to a club. So clearly, like Vega's probably like a Poch.
But he's
one.
got a 34 million euro buyout. I read, or was it pounds?
It's 34. No, it's actually pounds. That's pounds. 34
The
pounds.
34 million pounds. I mean, I
Yeah.
know City
Yeah.
were linked to him, but I don't know if City have already
Oh.
got like what's that Perone bloke and
Yeah, but so just quickly, he got another United fan, our good friend. You know, you usually see him on Sarcasm City. You know what I mean? Big up, you know, big my G Don Dada Diamond. Oh, actually we're full right now. Actually, that's why. Is it possible for one of you guys to go off for 5 minutes to let Diamond on?
yeah,
Because I forgot I'm on the temporary one.
sure, I'll go.
All right, bro. Thank you. And then we will give you Diamond, bro. What are you saying, big man? What are you saying, big man?
Yo, you
Hello?
hearing me?
I can hear you.
Dendada,
Yeah,
We
me?
can hear you, bro.
Did I say one thing to Dendada?
Go ahead, bro.
Dendada,
Yo.
go scorched earth on these people, please, man.
No. We're being respectful today.
No, I'm
listen,
talking about
listen.
United. I'm talking about
He's
United.
not talking
No,
about.
listen to me. I not even concerned about the mountain jet. I watching Johnny stream, and these little mods talking about Lewis in the streets and all kind of fuckeries, Jed. Talking about hurt and harm. These boys getting tapped. That is why I focusing on the kind of hate they're going for Lewis and they're going after Silva and one says Silva is after the OCD, and when they meet Lewis and what they will do to Lewis, these boys mad. I ain't concerned about the mounting. I concerned about my little brother. I don't want nobody interfere with my little brother, you understand? But Johnny's a proper pussy hole.
Can I say something?
And I wish I was injured.
For a fact, it's a lot worse, and it's a lot worse. The shout's a lot worse than that. And number two, like in games, people like shout up like from afar to Lewis, like no one touches him. Like it's not just keyboard warriors. No one actually touches him. No one actually touches him.
He's not coming to no Thai restaurant, bro. Nah.
Yeah, literally.
Yo.
You know what's funny? They film at the Thai restaurant all the time. That they're always there, but they never blow. They're never there. So I think Lewis will be fine. It's just
but from experience, right?
It's just keyboard
from experience from experience and the job I do, it has some people out here fragile that they could be easily incited. It just takes one pussy hole, fragile mentally, to take that chain up and attack the fella. Trust me, I've been doing this shit for 7 years. So that is my content creators, and you cannot be promoted harm against a man because of his opinions. What kind of madness is that?
That's true. It
I
doesn't even have
all
to
know,
be
but
Johnny.
I had to jump.
It could be it in the chat. It doesn't even have to be Johnny.
No, watch my alarm. If I was across there, I'd have traced people IP addresses. See, them kind of threat is not to be taken like, and I would deal with it.
Really, yeah, I understand, Diamond. I think this is the reality today. A lot of these guys, this armchair warriors. You know what I'm saying? None of these guys are really good.
But you know what it is, Ahmed. You know what it is, Ahmed, because of what Dendada just said, because of his perspective that he's coming from, and his line of work. I'm honestly agreeing with him because it just takes one dude who said today was the day I wanted to do some foolishness. And so I'm with Dendada. Like people all talk, they do all this talking, and it sounds like talking until something actually happens. And there are a lot of examples out here stateside where people thought somebody was just talking, and then action came behind those words.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so you never want to take them lightly at any point in time, and you want to tell people that, like, you got to chill out with that kind of foolish talk because go ahead.
I was seriously thinking of getting in contact with Timo and kind of try to let him talk sense into that man's head, because You could build a case off of things that are said on social media. A successful case, mind you. And again, I am just concerned that some asshole going to take that chain up and Lewis goes to gate. And anybody that is propagating that will be held culpable also.
100%.
That is a charge. You know, so that is my thing with Mount. Hopefully, Ten Hag has a plan, brother. What will be, will be. Right? At the end of the day, our station and the little community that we have created, that comes here. Something's bigger than the game. And I won't appreciate what fuckers are saying on that channel. You understand, man?
Of course, bro.
Everything is not a joke.
100%,
right? Everything is not a joke. Every skin teeth, every grin is not a smile. I don't even want to go into the type of cases I have dealt with too. That is the only thing I'm concerned about Lewis's safety and whatnot. And
fair enough, bro.
Then data,
if things have to be dealt with even from here, boy.
I need you to give me your Ten Hag perspective now that this is happening. That's what I need to hear, because I was a guy.
And the minerals, bro.
I was a guy who was pushing back against you, but now I've seen the light.
I'm gonna be back in 1 second, guys. Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Go. I kind of want to hear what you have to say about that situation.
Well, brother, remember I would have indicated my concerns back in February, right?
Yeah.
And I would have shared it with you, flawless and rant, and everything I said coming to pass. We have to be concerned. Do you think the Qataris would have purchased Mount? I don't think so.
Right.
Right? We don't have people filter like at Ajax, Ten Hag had Overmars and he had Van der Sar's system. Not Mutu and Fletcher. Right? Somebody was saying today, and I didn't even know that on side stream, that Ten Hag wasn't aware.
Big up, Hassan, bro. Big up.
Ten Hag wasn't aware that Luke Shaw had signed his contract. So it tells me something. Mutu and Fletcher doing one thing, and he wants the next. They offered to get the contract, he vetoed it. Embarrassment, they came to. He needs a director of football. He needs to be answerable to somebody. Can't depend on Mutu and Fletcher. They do not have a scouting network. Everybody takes us to club. And the danger is this. And remember, I said this, my brother. The danger is this. Some reports say that if the Qataris come in, they want to bring in Paul Mitchell. If they bring in Paul Mitchell, Ten Hag is going to be sacked. Paul Mitchell was the one that Ralph Ragnick had recommended United to hire. They were actually seen, they went to look at the games and they were side by side. He networked with Ralph Ragnick. So if the Qataris do bring in Paul Mitchell, that will be the end of Ten Hag. Because Ten Hag was the one who told Ralph, I don't need your assistance, brother. So this, I ain't gonna lose sleep on it. I warned you, man, in February. Right now, he's 8 hard. He lost 2 hard for this Mount transfer. If he brings in Rabiot, by some strange reason, then he will be 5 hard.
1 second, Diamond. Rabiot is already confirmed. Rabiot is already confirmed to have re-signed the Juve, so he can't sign Rabiot now.
Okay, thank God. Thank God, because I didn't want to make...
but I've got a present for you, Diamond. Diamond, I've got you a special present for you. You know what I'm saying? I actually got this... This is my mom, may her soul rest in peace. She got me this before she actually passed away. This is a Mason Mount 19, you know what I'm saying? This is the Champions League winning, you know what I mean, shirt, you know what I'm saying?
Unbelievable.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't want it, I can always send it to you. If you want me to.
I have no problem with the 19. Rumors are they want to give him the number 7. That's the rumors.
Big up.
I have to go.
All right,
I have to go. Yeah,
Eddie, have a nice one, bro.
You've done enough. And
listen. I am duty right now, so looking. You guys take care and take into consideration. Let's speak with Lewis. I'll try to talk to Father.
All right, bro.
Put some kind of sense to this shit.
Of course,
I respect it, then that I respect. And yet, you know what? Before I go, just let me say this.
Yeah, bro.
Congrats on the channel. Wish you nothing but success, my dog. You already know what it is.
Much appreciated, man.
I wish you everything good in life, but today, I want you to hold that in some way, whether it's your toe getting stubbed on the corner or that piping hot tea getting poured on you. Some way, somehow, you have to take that.
Nice little Pepsi right here, man. Not saying.
All right. I hope you choke.
Wow. With me,
Big up, Jez.
What are you saying, Jez, bro? What are you saying, Jez, man?
Bro, I'm just chilling right now. They're like,
listen, man. Listen, I'm gonna make sure to send. I'm gonna make sure to send this to Flawless, guys. The 19 is gonna get sent to Flawless.
He said you need he wants the United version, not
Don't worry, bro. He's gonna be happy. I'm just gonna show him what he looks like. You know what I'm saying? IRL. That's what Mark looks like on the back of a t-shirt. So it's all good, man. It's all good. Listen, what are your thoughts on the transfer, Jez? Because like everyone else here has spoken, of course.
I think obviously very good deal for Chelsea because it's a year left. It's a deal. It's like it's 1 year left on the deal. Obviously, the player had horrific seasons. So for Chelsea, yeah, it's a good deal. Now you can actually go and sign players because I think that's the last. Obviously, Gallagher's there, but I'll be real. That guy is so ass. Nobody wants him.
That's pretty much. I would agree with that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this might be the last transfer, unless maybe somebody comes in for Connor later, but or Trevor, whatever you guys have.
No, so the Trevor one, it seems that that one's kind of gone cold because they're going after Aspie. Pulisic is currently still in negotiations with AC Milan currently. Cho is another one, and then I'm pretty Aubameyang, and I don't know if is there anyone else.
I think first team players, nah. But like Ramen and them gotta go as well.
Oh yeah, Ampadu as well. Yeah, Ampadu's got.
Yeah, Ampadu. There's a bunch of other smaller.
That guy's already gone, man. That guy's already gone. He's right. He did his medical.
Yeah,
but what I was saying as well is with the from a United perspective, do you want me to be real or do you want me to be
To be both, bro. Be both. It doesn't
matter. Whatever you want, but I got a question afterwards.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my shameless version.
Yeah,
I think it's hilarious that they bought him because I feel sorry for Casemiro, bro. Like, he went from Toni Kroos and Modric to Mount and Bruno. Like,
hamstrings gone. Hamstrings.
He's an old man too as well. Like, he's not like he's like young.
32.
Old man. That's what I'm saying. So like, hey, United better get a backup DM. But being on the real, to be honest, like people are thinking like, why is Mount getting bought for United? I think Ten Hag has an idea where somebody said that earlier to me, like either he could potentially play just a 8 and just wants to play like a 4-3-3 like Madrid used to do with Casemiro, or this what I was thinking is that he's gonna try to use him like Van de Beek in my opinion, where when he was at Ajax, where he is just gonna be working. He's not gonna get too much of the ball for the build-up, but he will be working within like the channels, different channels in the final third, trying to make late runs, trying to make shadow runs to be there to finish off chances. I think this is what I think is gonna happen, but it's just weird because you don't have this Frankie De Jong kind of player who can bring the ball forward to begin with, or
exactly.
So it's kind of weird how he went on about it. Unless he thinks Mount can do both of that. Or he thinks Bruno and Mount have to share this responsibility of bringing the ball up, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's also a possibility where they just want to play on the counter, like they want to be more pragmatic, to be honest. So I think there's all possibilities there, but
the thing is in the counter, Jez. Yeah, if you think about it, like his decision making is not great. Like we've seen that a lot.
I agree, but this is the thing. This is something that Ten Hag just has to see himself. And maybe make a judgment of himself, but this was his priority signing. There was even more of a priority than the goalkeeper, and also that goalkeeper is going to leave. So it's going to be interesting to see how he actually wants to make it work at United. There's United fans who are trying to use it from a statistical way to base their opinions on how they want to use it. But when you just watch him, it's a poor player when you watch him with your own two eyes. So I think it's kind of delusional. There's United fans thinking they're like, oh yeah, Ten Hag wants him for a reason. Yeah, Ancelotti wanted Richarlison at Real Madrid because he liked him at Everton. So it's like I don't like these narratives about there's this manager and that manager wants him. No sense. So it's like I guess we will see. And even if Ten Hag gets the best out of him, I think it's just going to be again the above average kind of player. I don't think he makes him like a world class player or like a top class player or something like that. So I think for Chelsea was a good deal. For United, I have to base it off based on how the season goes with him.
Arlen, you had a question, bro. What
Yeah,
was the
I was gonna
question?
say, the fact that this is their priority signing and they're spending up to 60 mil with 1 year left, like clearly this has to be some type of a big plan, right? Like
It has to be.
this can't isn't a small thing. So I'm wondering because Jez, have you like I'm assuming you watched more Ajax than me while Ten Hag was there, right?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah, so like the thing is I know this guy that does streams, his name's Hodge. He used to do like the Red Talk with Floss and Rants and them, right? And he apparently watched a lot of Ajax, and he like in March was talking about how like a lot of people when they see Bruno on the right, they pass it off as, oh, it's purely out of circumstance. He has no other options, and Bruno just has to play there. But he's like, no, I don't think that's an accident. He's like, if you watch the older Ajax teams when Ziyech was there, like because you see Ziyech as a player that puts in some good balls and has some like really good shots, you think, okay, that's a technical skill, but he's not actually a possession player whatsoever. Like Ziyech is a very low percentage player, plays low percentage passes, takes low percentage shots, and he's kind of like a volume just sprayer. He's like having that player on the right at Ajax, and now like you see Bruno on the right occasionally, this season, and now you have Mount, I think a player that falls into the same category of just like a low percentage player who had his best moments as a right inside forward. So I'm just wondering, like, could there potentially be a chance that that's kind of just something he actually likes, like something that a lot of people have kind of like danced around, but like this is 3 players now that have a history of basically being like low percentage sprayers from the right hand side now that he's had in his teams. Like maybe this is something he actually likes and plans around.
See, it's weird because he had like two, like I think people have like a misperception with Ten Hag sometimes. I feel like when I was watching his time at Ajax, there were two different types of Ajaxes, and
Yeah.
where you had obviously the super team that pretty much made it to the semi-final. Then you had the second Ajax team that got completely ripped apart and rebuilt pretty much. And those two Ajax teams play different, but it's the same manager because the manager kind of adapted to the new players and realized that certain skill sets he didn't have in his team. But going back to your question, I think there is not. I think there is a idea where he wants to bring that to the United team. I might be honest, because like you mentioned, Mount can play at the right forward, regardless if he's a good right forward or not. It's a different question. Like,
Of course,
it's the ability of being able to even just being there, in my opinion. So I don't remember Mount being like a good crosser though. Like from what I know or what I've seen, I
Right.
don't remember him being like a good crosser or I know I know he tries a lot of through balls, even if he mishits a lot. But I would have to see how it's gonna work out personally. Like, it's really gonna be like I'm really intrigued. Like, it's the same thing with the Kai Havertz to Arsenal. I have to see how both managers want to actually use those two because at the moment in time, I have no idea what the plan is for both of them. But to your point, along, I think there is a plan where they might want to do that with Mount
It
as
could be
well.
Bruno as well. It could be Mount through the middle and Bruno on the right. But the point is like both of these kind of players could be accommodated in theory with you saying the Van de Beek role in the middle could be for Mount. Bruno might be on the right. Like I wouldn't be surprised if a part of the thinking is like I have Anthony as one option on the right, who's very different, right? Obviously being a left-footed player that kind of is just trying to do like one thing versus now we have a second option, but prior to having Mount, if you put Bruno on the right, you can't put Anthony in the middle, leaves you short in the middle, right? So now there's actually like options to play that style. Like that might be an intentional thing. I just wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, right? Like people are acting like again, like when Bruno was on the right, people were acting like that's purely circumstance and just he's there because there's no other options. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the case.
One thing that I will add to this conversation is that even if you do play Mount as the much more in the middle as the main creator and everything, we've seen at Chelsea his pass choice is not great if we're being honest, and he does his vision as well is not great either.
It's the weight of the passes as well.
Yep, the weight of the pass as well is another one.
See, but that's why.
Yeah.
Just to interject. That's why I think he's gonna play the role, because Van de Beek, he wasn't really like a curator. It was he had a weird midfield. Like I don't remember who the third midfielder was, but I don't think that was your traditional ball winning midfielder. Like they were just all pretty well good, all technical players who can keep the ball. This was the difference where I don't think he was playing with like a proper ball winner. And with Mount, to be honest, he doesn't even need to touch the ball if he plays the Van de Beek role, to be honest. If it's going to be much harder, yes. Because the difference is also, at the time, Van de Beek was playing out of a much more higher IQ.
It was Shona that was playing this. He was playing lesser Shona apparently in the midfield.
Oh, okay, yeah, he might have been the one shielding for De Jong and Van de Beek then. But the thing is, you guys probably can answer the question better, but I don't think Mount had that same IQ in terms of off-ball runs on a consistent basis like Van de Beek used to do. I don't know. You guys think that he has that kind of IQ about him?
I think he had it, but it wasn't consistent. Like as few times I saw him make good runs, but I didn't like. Towards to the end of last season, he was barely doing it anyways. He just stayed in one specific place. So maybe Ten Hag has like a plan for him to carry on doing that. But at the end of the day, that's what Ten Hag no one knows what Ten Hag wants to do. Only Ten Hag. So I guess you just have to wait and see.
Yeah, this is the thing for me with Mount. Like wherever you play him, I feel like he needs a lot of coaching. Wherever you want to use him. If you want to play him as an 8, we saw him playing as an 8 under Potter this season. He was playing higher than the left winger and the striker. If you want to play him on either flank, for some reason, whenever he plays on the flank, he always comes inside. But whenever he plays in the midfield, he's either further forward than the striker or he's hugging the touchline. Some of the stuff he does just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Ten Hag's gonna have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Just quickly, so I just wanted to show you guys. So the midfield that he was playing, at least in the semi-final of the Champions League, I'm not sure this was the regular midfield. It was Van de Beek.
I think that was the regular midfield. Yeah.
So that was the regular midfield he was maintaining back then. But
but you know what the thing was? The wide players, the Tadic and Ziyech. These were kind of like the creator. That's why Van de Beek was able to not really having to put too much of a creative kind of role, in my opinion. That's why he was able to do the whole shadow. That's why back then I wanted him at Tottenham to replace Dele Alli, because Dele Alli was kind of similar, in my opinion, but just more athletic than Van de Beek, and obviously more physical as well. But man, I still think Chelsea's fleeced them at this moment in time. But if it works out, then hey,
One thing I will say about Mount. And I think the guys can back me up here. Under Tuchel, the reason why he worked so well under Tuchel was because Tuchel obviously tactically was one of the best managers that there ever was. One of the best managers there is. So he can literally, if you give him instructions, he can do those instructions very well. But when he's instructionless and he's left to his own devices, a lot of the time he doesn't really work in the system, or he does stuff like hero balling at times, and then a lot of his insecurities get shown out a lot more. And obviously, I'm seeing with Ten Hag, clearly is a tactician as well. So as long as he maybe give him some sort of instructions, I think he can do well. But again, a lot of his basic stuff still needs to be improved upon, and that's going to take a lot of time. And then go ahead, Oliver.
From the Tuchel time, you've got to give a lot of credit to the way that Tuchel had us set up with the set pieces.
Exactly, yeah.
Because we all know Mount does not have a lot of open play assists, and that's because he just from a corner. Oh, there's Rudiger, there's Silva, there's whoever. We were just scoring. Defenders were scoring for fun. It became a meme. The defenders were doing the attackers' jobs. They were scoring more goals, and so that part of Ten Hag and United's game is going to have to be tip top if you want to see Mount as a high level creator in some sense.
Yeah, and just quickly before we continue on, make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe. We're on 176 subscribers right now. Let's get to 180 by the end of the stream. Come on, guys. We're giving you quality content here. Let's continue onwards. So, obviously, with this Mount situation, it's all over. As a Chelsea fan, are you and talking to Chelsea fans, Tottenham fan, Jess can also answer this. Are you relieved now that this situation is over? Are you guys like relieved now? Because like I think
1
for me,
million.
I'm very relieved right now. I hope this hopefully will end like some level of toxicity that we've had at the club since 2019, in my opinion, since Lampard came in. Because I feel like this Mount sale, in my eyes, like almost like the end of the Lampard era, in the sense that when the transfer ban happened to us, we had like such a big up Adam MUFC, big man. I know who you are. So where was I? Yeah. So when Lampard came in, we obviously had the transfer ban, and we had this huge influx of common talents that came through the club. Obviously, we had Reece James, Mount, Abraham was already kind of known within the fan base, I would argue, because of his time at Aston Villa. Lamptey, Tomori, all came through, and then this thing came about of like we need to give these kids the chance. These guys are the future, and obviously, for the last almost 4 years, I would argue, it's been this constant battle over like the youths, over why you're buying these signings when you've got youth players, and I feel like this is like closing the chapter on it, in my opinion. Hopefully, this is like the end of the book is finished. It's been written. End of story. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I don't think it's the end of the toxicity. I was talking about this in the Casual FC Discord, and I was saying, I was talking to the guys in there. I was saying, like, the way now, like, people are gonna be to James, like the Mount fans are gonna probably treat James a bit differently because it should have been their guy. It shouldn't have been him. That kind of thing. There's gonna be a bit of jealousy there.
Oh, it's already happened. It's already happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And the attitude toward just generally like a lot of the younger talent we're getting from other countries, right? Like I think that kind of clash will still exist because we're investing pretty heavily in youth talent from around the world. So it's not going to hit the same because they're not young Cobham boys and they're going to feel like their one Cobham boy, got away. So that tension's always going to exist. And those players are going to be fighting an uphill battle probably.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm low-key grateful for is that our academy just doesn't produce much because every Tom and Dickie just gonna be like, oh, I want this kid in my team. I want this kid in my team, but I don't think it just works like that. I think on Cyprus and City, obviously, I talk about a lot how I feel about academy kids in general, not just the top teams. But I kind of it goes two ways to be honest, because
got some quick breaking news actually on Mount. Apparently, Fabrizio on YouTube right now he said that face-to-face talks were held in the US to seal the Mount deal. So essentially, Todd Bowley basically finished the deal because the other two owners are not in the US from what we know currently. So
and the Glazers in the US. So this was,
Hey, so hold up, Jez. So United fans have top reds. We have proper Chelsea. Is there a Spurs equivalent?
Yeah, like
what the true lilies?
There's two kinds. There's actually two kinds. They're the Twitter ones where I call them Lakers Twitter FC. Because there's like when you see like Tottenham fans that have like purple and gold like on their like them bows as emojis in their names. This is what I call Lakers Twitter. These are the guys where we could make something positive and they still criticize it regardless. Like, for example, Madison signed, and we signed Madison, and somebody tweeted, "It's all good that we signed Madison, but if Leicester didn't get relegated, we would have signed James Ward-Prowse. But what's your point? We signed Madison."
That's a crazy hypothetical. Like you just made that.
It's just these make-up stories that I tweeted about yesterday. Like
big up United Spurs of America.
So hold up, who's the other one?
These are Lakers Twitter. The other ones are just top yids. This is what we call them.
Oh, okay, like if you need a name, they could go with Top Spurs, and that would just be such a fire name with the meme.
See that when I talk about us in this is the thing that it doesn't work for me though because I'll be saying Top Spurs in Spurs group shots though. Like I'll be saying like just like Madison is a top Spur now. Like
bro,
oh my!
That's the thing.
Why not lilies? Do you not guys have the lilies collection?
We do, but the issue is like we have, but it's just never really gotten like to that way. Like it's just always been like, from what I know, always been like the guys who think they're like them, or like they're like the Papa Chels. Just like the top kids, like, and I think
that
Yates
never
in general.
existed, man. That genuinely never existed in 2019, bro. It's only like in the last 2 to 3 years that I've heard proper Chels. Honestly, bro, it's so like toxic. But Fabrizio, yeah, also like he also reported this that Mason Mount was disappointed as he wanted to stay at Chelsea. He was not so happy in September, October, November. Everything collapsed in February. So you know that PR theory, yo, I can't lie to you, man. It's hitting strong right now. I'll be honest, because like at the end of the day, it's very strong right now.
Okay, it's a bunch of rubbish. Like he didn't want a long contract, but yet he signed a 5+1 contract with United.
He signed a 6-year deal, yeah. That's how I'm kind of.
Yeah. He didn't want the money. He signed with add-ons 300k. Like, just read into it a little bit. You can kind of see where it's falling apart. This argument.
Exactly, yeah, man. Do you want to say something, Victor? Or
no, yeah, I said that people who, and I'm in the same group chat with me as well. People were telling me that it's not. He didn't want to stay for money. Like money wasn't a problem. It was the years of thinking, and I was like, that's not true. Like he clearly wanted the same. He thought him and Reece were on the same level, which I kind of understand. Like you both came together, you both won the Champions League. I get that, but you both of you on talent wise, it's completely different. It's completely different. And I think the contract they wanted to give Mason Mount was the one that will like keep him on the bench. Because I remember an article came out saying they want to give bench players like crazy contracts because he can't be on the bench earning like 200k a week or something silly. So I think the contract they wanted to give him was like a bench player contract, like contract that you'll be playing a lot of games. And I don't think he was happy with that. I think he wanted a more secure contract that he'd be playing like more often.
Victor, you know what it is? One thing that I remember when he talks about the new formation that the club was planning to do initially, when it was 4-3-3 or even a 4-2-3-1, we will find it quite hard to even find a place for him to play. If you remember,
exactly.
And also like the addition of buying Felix, kind of was like at the time, even though Poch didn't want him, that was kind of like almost like a cementing of his fate in my eyes at the very least. That maybe he's not going to be a starter here, but hey ho.
I mean, Felix was the option that prevented Mount from getting on the pitch and doing something or anything, right? Not that I think he would have, but in theory it was possible. But Zhao just stepped in, took all the minutes, had his ass sitting on the bench, and the rest is history.
Exactly. I mean, there was an injury in the middle there, but for some extent, I do see what you mean.
Yeah. Listen, obviously moving on. Apparently, the club are spending all their money now into the striker situation. If you had the choice of a striker, we know Nicholas Jackson seems to be the option that's going to be on the bench at the very least. Who would you want as your main striker to be in this current situation? Of the strikers that are currently available for you on the market. I'll start with you, Oliver, because you're the one that's next to me.
God. I really like Tony. Like I just can't lie. I know that would not happen this summer. I just love Tony. Like I don't know how feasible it would be to go with Jackson or Broya until January, but I just love Tony. I think he'd be the best fit. There's just not like if you're trying to go for a high level striker, because Jackson isn't that. He's a young player and he's only just had a breakout season. There's really not a lot. That's my problem I'm having here. And
I agree.
I mean, what's the development with the Vlahovic thing? Because wasn't there a thing with Lukaku and Juventus?
That's gone quiet now because Inter essentially are now willing to do the obligation to buy now. So
because I wouldn't have minded Vlahovic. Like not my top choice by any means, but he's still young. There's something there to work with. But I'd probably say Tony. He's of an age. Like we're buying a lot of young players. Tony's what, like 27, around.
26, 27,
he's entering his prime. We need more of those players. I want one of those players for the midfield. It seems like we're not going to get that, but we need more of these kind of players in the squad. So probably Tony, like in my wildest dreams.
What about you, Alan, bro? You're the next guy up. If you were to
so hold up. Other than Vlahovic and Tony, who else is even an option? Because Osimhen's signing a new deal, right?
Osimhen's not an option, no.
No. Yeah, he's signing a new deal. So who else is even on the market in theory?
That's my point.
Kolo Muani's still an option. I know Hodgland is still available. I know they're not
See-
linked to him as well.
I'm not really too thrilled with those kind of signings in terms of just really young players who are still like they're developmental players still. Just because their price tag is high doesn't automatically mean you can expect them to come in and hit the ground running. So if that's really the main option, right? Tony's not coming in until January. That would be my option ideally. But honestly, just me personally, because I don't have like the highest expectations of us this year, I would honestly give the minutes to Broya and Nicholas Jackson and just see what we have there, right? You give them a season, there's no hiding. Whatever we have there, I think we would see over the course of a season. And then next summer, you know exactly what you're missing, and hopefully the market is better.
It's such a huge risk, though, isn't it? Like, you know,
I agree, man.
Because Jackson only blew up like kind of at the end of this season, and Broya's coming off an ACL. Like,
honestly, for me, bro cannot be starting for us this summer, bro. This guy just come off an ACL injury. We don't even know what level he's gonna even be back at. Is he even gonna be able to improve? Because especially if there's ACL injuries as well.
You got to remember as well. Even when he was fit, he was still very raw.
Exactly. So he's not even developed. If you're being honest, fully developed. Sorry, not even just developed. Yeah. So I think for me, Jackson, I would do the thing of buy Ivan Toney, but know that you're gonna have to wait until January for him to start football for you.
Hold on. Here's my point with that, Ahmed. Right? You're buying Toney, getting him back mid-January. The guy's had 8 months off, so he's probably not going to be hitting his stride until March. You're effectively
he's able to train in September, by the way. That's when he can start training again.
No, he can train, but the problem is he can't play
train. Yeah, he's not playing football. Like, I'm just assuming it's going to take time to get like actually match fit and integrated to the side. So you're effectively doing the same thing. You're just getting the player in March, which is of course a difference because 3 months of play is a difference. That's my thing. Like, with that being a risk, playing Nicholas Jackson and Broya, and I completely acknowledge that is the case. I also think there's a risk involved with playing close to 100 for guys like Kolomoani and Hoyland. Like, there's a risk that comes with that as well. So I just,
the thing is,
all the risk on the table.
How much risk do you? The question is, how much do you want to risk it for? Though I think that's the real question to answer. Because if I start Jackson, for example, right? Yeah. And I say, okay, you're going to be my main striker. You obviously had Kai Havertz last season there. The guy's only scored 7 goals. Nicholas Jackson can only go up from 7 goals. Like, sure. Right. So, again, like, is there really any harm in starting him?
Here's another thing, right? Like, hypothetical, right? We bring in Kolomoani, right? And he is on the pitch with 2 wingers that are struggling. So, like, Madueke and Mudryk are playing and they're just not necessarily thriving. So now the striker is not really getting the best service and the creation's not the best for him. Like, there's a scenario where we bring in 100 million striker and they struggle as well. Like, I don't think there's a clean-cut solution to the situation. And because there's not a clean-cut solution, I'm okay with just like, again, like, I don't necessarily think putting minutes into developmental players is the worst thing when you're not actually competing for major honors. Like, we talk about how raw a player like Nicholas Jackson would be and how raw a player like Broya was prior to the injury. Like, minutes are the only things that are going to make them not raw.
100%.
Right?
It's just at what cost, though? That's the way up.
Yeah, 100%. You have to make that decision of what you're comfortable with risking.
Before I go ahead with the striker, because obviously from outside I'm thinking, because obviously me my situation looking for a striker, but now did you see what thing the Santi_J_FM tweeted?
What did he say?
Like, he's saying Breaking Al Nassr have identified a knee problem in the medical of Siege. There are no doubts over the transfer.
I think there was rumors. There was rumors saying he showed his
medical. Ahmed, I tagged you in the Casly Discord because there was this Saudi reporter that like.
Oh my God, bro! Oh man!
He is gone.
Bro, how does he have a knee problem? He's been sitting on the bench.
Bro, man.
I was gonna say.
I'm always losing. I'm just losing, man. I can't. Every time I win, I just lose. Come on, see it. Bro, bro. After that knee injury, he's cooked, man. Oh my lord! Let me just increase this in size for everyone to see.
Oh my god!
Oh my lord! This
guy.
man.
The one thing I would have said he had going for him was fitness, right? Because of like how just like lean he is and how much in theory he could run. Like he has a physical issue.
How, man? How?
He wasn't doing shit.
No, listen, listen up, Ziyech. I can't lie. Ziyech has been pretty injury prone at Chelsea.
Yeah, but
I cannot.
But it's been his shoulder, bro. It's not even been his knees. It's been his shoulder.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. But like, yeah,
picking up hammies and shit.
See, my thing is,
it's weird.
As an athlete, I will never understand how you cannot pass a medical. In my opinion, like even what's it called? I mean, actually, funny enough, Nicholas Jackson talking about him, he failed the medical in January to Bournemouth. I just don't get how you. I don't know how you can fail a medical as a player.
But hold up, Jez.
He had an injury at the time.
In Europe, is there like a rigid standard for what like a medical assessment is? Because I know like in North American sports, the whole kind of joke about medicals is there's no procedure for medicals. Literally, a doctor puts you through tests and then just arbitrarily decides whether you passed or failed. Like it's a very subjective, like just whatever that person thinks.
No,
they take
it.
It's up to the club.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a subjective
Alan,
thing.
bro. If you watch people, have you watched like medicals taking place?
Yeah.
So what they do is they actually take a blood, for example. They do blood tests.
I know. I'm talking about what constitutes a failed medical, right? Because in
they
theory,
usually
sometimes players get transferred who aren't actually even all the way healthy yet. Like they're nursing an injury, so that player isn't all the way fit, but because of their situation, you determine they're on track. So therefore they've passed, right? So that's what I'm saying. For a failed medical, basically like whatever shit he has going on is out of the ordinary or like unforeseen shit, something like that. So like, yeah, it's something pretty dramatic had to have happened.
Yeah, because we did that with Chilwell. We bought Chilwell with an ankle injury back in 2020.
Yeah,
and he didn't start the season.
Yeah,
we looked at
a past medical. Yeah, that's a past medical.
Yeah, but the thing with medicals in general is, from what I know, at the very least, they when they X-ray your knee, they actually look at your knee, they do the CAT scan stuff, and if they clearly can see that the knee's not like healed properly or it's not looking good, they will usually that's when it usually gets rejected.
So,
I think you know what it is with knee injuries. I think because knees like ankle issues like is what it is. Like ankle issues, like I think you can work on it. You can deal with it much better, but I think with stuff like knee injuries, I think some teams might just be more cautious about it, and that's why be like, yes, maybe you passed the maybe because this is the thing, he could maybe be like, you know what, the medical wasn't really particularly the issue, but the knee problem, we might look at and say in the test where your knee was kind of shown as, you know what, there could be like red flags when they're in them areas where they're thinking, you know what, do we really want to go with the risk? That's why. But overall,
that's what I'm talking about. So I wasn't saying they don't take it seriously. I'm saying there's not a set standard for what constitutes passing and not passing a medical. They do their tests, and whatever comes up, they determine is this something we're comfortable with or something we're not comfortable with. So like in American sports, they just did a medical for a quarterback who turned out had a really bad ankle issue that needed surgery, but they still passed his medical and signed him because they determined they were comfortable with the injury, right? So like that's the whole point with medicals, is that it's not about what comes up or what doesn't come up. Passing and failing is about the level of comfort with the team, with whatever comes up. So that's what I'm saying. For him to fail the medical, so to speak, whatever came up, the team was uncomfortable with, which is just really strange. Like I need to know what the hell happened.
Bro, all I'm saying, man, is if Kante has passed the medical and you can't, shame on you, bro.
That's pretty mad.
That's a fact.
That is crazy. How has he stayed at my football club, bro?
And Kovacic is City.
Oh, Kovacic passed the medical as well, bro. That guy has multiple knee injuries.
Bro, what was the transfer fee? 8 mil? Knock it down to 3 and just give it 5 mil, man. Just call it a day.
Man,
but PSG, you still need someone.
Oh my god, it's just crazy, man.
They're on all sorts of craziness, but now, do you want to go to the comment, or do you want to share my thoughts about the striker?
Go first to the striker, and then obviously answer United fans afterwards. I would say.
Well, just quick. I don't really want to talk about that club like that. So now,
okay.
Nah, but the striker situation is weird because I was thinking about it and I was looking at even. I talked to you about not even too long ago. I was asking how you actually feel about your not even just a striker, just the forward line in general. How you
Yeah,
could
Oliver and I
potentially
spoke
line
about
up,
this. Yeah,
and it's a difficult one because either you could go and just overspend on an Oshman, for example, and or you because for me even Vlahovic, I think it's a risk. I don't think he's that good as people think he is, in my opinion. But the price is still high. Obviously, I know Chelsea for a fact is rumoring for Harry Kane if Casey leaves on a free. That's a fact. Who else? Like you said, Kolomani and Hoyland. I said this to
yeah.
United fans. Like I don't look at Kolomani or Hoyland thinking like they could come in immediately to their clubs to make a difference. So they should go to Chelsea, who are struggling to score goals, to
Yep.
come in and make the difference. So it's like it's a weird situation where I feel like the manager can only really determine, in my opinion, how he wants to go to. Where like maybe he looks at it and say, maybe we sign one more striker, but we maybe invest heavily more on the wide areas to look for players who can give us goals. Because there's not like really and truly like strikers is just a really weird situation. Like I agree with Oliver. Ivan Tony would have been probably every team's dream. Like I still take Ivan Tony right now, even if Kane's were to stay. That's how much I rate the brother. But it's a I think this is a thing where you can only really decide once the manager kind of has an idea of what he wants to do. Like, do you want maybe the striker to be more of a facilitator, hold up the ball, bring down the ball, pressure the back line, and then maybe be a fault for the wide players? Or do you want the striker to be the goal scorer, but then you need the wide players to be more consistent with their creating? So it's like it's a weird
100%.
situation at Chelsea because I think the forward line is just really unbalanced in my opinion. Or I think there's combinations of unbalancedness, if that's even a word. Um,
Imbalance.
Imbalance,
Imbalance.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Imbalance. I think that's a part where I think Chelsea have an issue with the front three. I think experience. I think that's another issue. Obviously, they have Sterling there, but then you go to Madueke, you go to Mudryk, you go to Jackson, obviously Broya as well, and then you have the issue of just consistency. Like we haven't seen most of these winger outside from Sterling who can play on a high level to a consistent level. So it's like it's just too many question marks on your front line, to be honest. Where like Chelsea, whoever the next forward signing is, needs to come in and hit the ground running and be consistent throughout the whole season. Maybe a period, maybe like a month period where that attacking signing doesn't maybe play to his high level, but you can't have another attacker coming in and be inconsistent when you have already inconsistent or guys who have not proven to be consistent forwards already. So it's like it's a weird situation at Chelsea. Like that's why I'm just so glad that we got Harry Kane, even if it might be the last time for this season, or even if it was last time last season. But it's just really raw. Like we just got extremely lucky that we literally just produced a top three striker in the world from the academy and didn't have to pay a single pound.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying to you, man. Sometimes, bro, it just like obviously in our iteration when we managed to get like a Drogba and then we brought Lampard back in '02, it was literally like obviously we had John Terry there and then we brought Czech. Like that shit lasted us a decade. That's why it's so important for you to have like a spine, like be able to build a spine that's gonna last you for a very long time. And we need to do that, of course. The striker situation, it's wait and we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you guys. It seems that the club is probably going to go for a backup midfielder after Caicedo. Who do you think that is, and who do you want to? Who? Oh, actually, before that, just ask about Madison. What do you think of the Madison side actually? Because that's what
I'll be
I
quick
think.
with that as well because obviously it's a Chelsea chat, but I
It's
think
alright, man.
very good signing. I think that's the last 10 I can really sit here and say we signed maybe since Ndombele. If you want to class Ndombele as a 10. I think very good signing. I saw somebody say that Madison is a useless signing. I was thinking, what?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
And the reasoning for that is because Kane could potentially leave. But For me, it's not about if Harry Kane is up front, Richarlison being up front, Son being up front. For me, it's about having that guy in the position who can provide the forward line in general. Like how long do we want to go with a situation where like Harry Kane is just not our main scorer, but our main creator?
Exactly,
like, So yeah, I think it's a very good signing. It can help Kulusevski maybe provide us with more goals. It gives opponents also more to think about. It's just more about having technical players on the pitch like Jose Mourinho, Nuno, and Conte. These three right there, I blame them by guys like Højbjerg, Skip, Dyer, Sanchez all survived at my club. I know Jose is your gold or whatever, but what he did to my football club in terms of bringing certain players in. And this is the kind of thing. I don't even hate Jose. I just hate some of the players that he brought in. And him in the club. So just keep it short. Yeah, like I agree. We definitely need two optimal would be three, obviously, but two centre backs. To be honest, I would be if you tell me we're signing only two more centre backs and that's it for signings, I would be happy. Because I think the outgoings are just very much more of a priority for us, like how Chelsea just did it as well. So yeah, man, James Maddison, you're Tottenham Hotspur now, so I forgive you for the tweets that you tweeted at 15, even though I don't think it was that deep, but it's what it is, man.
Where do you think he'll play? Will he be a number 8?
I think it depends because people were thinking maybe I'm just maybe gonna play a 4-2-3-1 and just play him in the 10. But I think
he's never done that though.
This is
who's the guy that he has? Who's the Japanese player that he has?
Hatate.
Yeah, Hatate, because that's the one that he uses as the main creator, right? In his team.
I think it was him because I think it maybe also another player, but
because he has the Japanese striker as his which is
I know.
And then they have the blonde one who acts as his main creator in the midfield. I think that's how he's gonna play.
But because we all see it like Madison can play in a 4-3-3 as an 8, so I think this is what we're just going to continue.
Yeah, you can play 8, 10, right wing, left wing probably as well.
Yeah, so
he's quite versatile.
So I think it's possible for us to see Madison playing a 4-3-3 like flat 3, and him just being the right 8 maybe, and then the idea probably is that Bentancur comes back, plays the left 8, and then Basuma's the 6. Maybe on a different stream, I'll talk about it more in depth, how I really feel about that midfield, because I don't want to drag with that to as well. Varela, that's a play. That's probably for Chelsea. If Chelsea sign him, I'm jealous.
What, Varela?
Yeah.
Is that actual guy?
If this is the guy that he's talking about, that I think it is, from Boca Juniors, I'm jealous.
From Boca Juniors.
Yeah,
that'd be fire.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Fair enough. But yeah, so to the other Chelsea guys, who wants to start first? Who do you think their backups are going to be, and who do you want it to be ideally as well? I think that's a fair question to ask.
God, I have no idea. I mean, it depends. So you're asking for a backup midfielder. What is that a backup 10?
No. So the 10, because we pretty much know who the backup 10 is going to be, because that's
Vega.
It's Vega essentially, right? So. Right. I'm saying because the club are looking for another midfielder to be backup, so I'm assuming that has to be to Caicedo, because we don't have a holder backup. I'm assuming right now.
So hold up. Hold up. When referencing signing a backup midfielder, that's not Vega.
No, because the reason why because Vega's a target to be a backup number 10. Because he's much more attacking third.
Yeah, we're talking pivot midfielder.
I'm assuming it would be pivot midfielder.
Players, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would assume to be. Yeah.
On paper, right now, the players in the pivot are like assuming Enzo Caicedo and then what? Andre Santos, because Carney and Casadei are supposed to go on loan, right?
Depends on preseason.
Yeah. And then again, even Andre Santos, apparently it depends on preseason. But they also would ideally like to send them out on loan to
Then I'm looking at it on paper, and there's really nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just youth players at that point. So yeah, it would have to be a pivot player, and I'm not all the way familiar, but I'll be real signing somebody from Boca Juniors. Why not?
Yeah. The thing is, I would have said Kone, but again, even Kone, he I don't know if he would work in a pivot. He's much more, but he's much more, of course, better as an 8.
Right.
What's happening with Lavia?
I don't know, bro. 1 minute Arsenal's in for him, the other minute Liverpool's in for him.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Chelsea's just monitoring apparently. Joe Shield has done the groundwork for him. So
we need to attack that. We need to attack that.
Listen, let's face it. He's going to go somewhere.
The problem with Lavia, though, guys, is that you have Andre Santos. Why are you gonna bring in Lafayette actually? Because I didn't think about it like this. The one is 1 year younger than another. They both play the same position. What's the point of having Andre Santos if you're gonna bring in and you're building up to be someone that's gonna be playing in the first team? Then
do they play the same role though?
Yeah, they literally play the same role. One of them they literally play the 6, and they can and what's it called? They can also play the 8 as well. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
I mean, this is the thing, because I don't really know what I hear conflicting things about Santos. I've never watched Santos, but like people say he's a ball carrying 8, and then I hear he's played DM. Like I don't really know what he is really.
I think he's a hybrid. I think he's a hybrid because
he can do both positions.
Because when I watch, obviously Ahmed knows, and obviously other guys in the planet knows as well. Like I actually followed like the under 17, South America. I followed all these under tournaments, and when I watch him, he's a weird midfielder. Like, he can play DM. In my opinion, a pivot. I don't think lone DM, but then he can be playing more advanced. Maybe he's not like a finisher, but he can be a threat in the box, but just not like a proper finisher though. Like, I think he's just versatile in terms of his skill set. Like, he's not just your traditional maybe just sitter, but he's also not just he's not the guy who needs a DM next to him to be playing at the best. Like,
it's really strange because, like, you know, you said there like you can play DM, but then he goes to like the South American tournament and he's the top scorer. It's like, you know, what's going on here? Like, you know,
yeah. Like, he's a unique player. Like, I heard about him even before he went to Chelsea, and this is when I wasn't too much into the South American football, but this was around the time when I started actually following guys like Alvarez, guys like Enzo, when they still were at River Plate, both played together. So it's kind of interesting how they play football and how they develop their talents over there, over how maybe here in England they do it, in my opinion.
I mean, I'd be interested in looking into that kind of market for a backup, because, you know, this is where Brighton get their Caicedos from, which is, you know, we're trying to buy him for 80 million now. So, you know, cut out that middleman and pick him up for single figure, if not like low double figures. You know, that can only spell good for us.
Exactly, man. This is why I think the multi-club model was so valuable for us right now, because we can at least get these talents. If they're good enough, they can do season in Strasbourg. We can see what they're like there. We can then bring him into the club, into the fray. But that will be all again today. Please make sure to subscribe. These have been my hosts, my fellow co-hosts, Oliver, Arlen, Victor, and Jess. Also, like to thank the other co-hosts that came on the stream: Eddie, Surfer, Diamond, etc. It's been a pleasure to have you all here. Listen, these lives, there's probably going to be another one hopefully tomorrow with for all this. If not, it'll probably be soon enough, you know, Saturday, Sunday. If not, you know, we're going to be discussing
the bridge special. The bridge.
That's going to be the bridge extra special, indeed. Extra special. It's going to be extra special because he's going to get cooked. You know, they will be here and I will be there no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So make sure to subscribe. Enjoy yourselves. What do you want to say, Alan, before we close out?
Nah, just you need a mount background for the stream, the little ticker at the bottom. It doesn't have to say like, share, and subscribe. It can just be mounts, open, play stats. Like, make the stream special.
Oh my god, believe me, I'm gonna have this stuff prepped. Don't you worry about that, Chief. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe again. And we are out.